The travel, tourism and hospitality sector has been hit hard since the coronavirus outbreak spread across the world in early March. In India, occupancy levels at hotels are close to zero due to the nationwide lockdown. In this CNBC TV 18 special, Puneet Chatwal, MD and CEO of Indian Hotels, reveals that the average occupancy rate at the group's hotels has fallen by 90%. He says hotels are more or less empty, with some islands of excellence in extended stays at our apartments in Mumbai, which are always occupied, but the average occupancy level for the group has fallen by 90%. The Indian hospitality and tourism business has another equally important component, in that is the food and beverage business. With all the restaurants, bars, gym, saloon and spas shut, the revenue drop is significant for the industry, he adds. In terms of economic damage due to COVID-19, Chatwal says that it is too early to calculate. I think within a week or 10 days we will have more visibility on what is happening, because the lockdown, this is only a 3-week lockdown, and business slowed down 10 days prior to the imposition of the restrictions. So, it will take a few months to recover, he says.
And so with events, wedding banquets and holiday reservations being cancelled on the back of the coronavirus situation, how has the hotel industry been affected? Well, let's speak with Jean-Philippe Jacopin, General Manager of Orchard Hotel. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Jacopin. Can you elaborate on the impact that your hotel is feeling so far?
Yes, thank you, Glenda and Dan. Chinese New Year is a very big period for hotel, and the coronavirus outbreak has certainly affected our hotel and resulted in cancellation of events. Some guests have also chosen to cancel the travel plan and their room bookings. Our management is reviewing the cancellation from the individual hotel on a daily basis. That being said, we still have many events, room booking in the upcoming months, so we should see the bright thing ahead of us.
Mr. Jacopin, you mentioned there that the cancellations and the bookings, they're all being reviewed, but how far ahead are you seeing cancellations coming in? For example, are we already seeing cancellations for holiday bookings or events as far as the second half of this year?
Yes, indeed. The cancellation started in January, and we can already see cancellations coming in February, March, and April. We are quite happy with events, as today a lot of events did not really cancel, they just postponed. So we can see the bright things will definitely back on track, I would say, in few months. So that is very, very positive.
Well, I want to talk about the business contingency plans. What has Orchard Hotel put in place so far to, ensure sufficient contingency and at the same time make sure that your staff, they're well protected? For example, do you have segregation of teams?
Well, having gone through SARS, our hotel are more prepared to deal with such current situation. We review our action plan daily to ensure quick and appropriate measures are taken if the situation worsens. The safety of our guests, patrons and employees is of utmost importance to us, and then we will not spare any cost to clean and disinfect our premises. We have increasing cleaning frequency and intensity of our sanitization regime in all our guest rooms, public area and guest facilities. Special attention has also been put in place to sanitize public area contact points such as elevator button, reception, counter, conference, meeting room. For our guests, convenience are also providing hand sanitizer in guest contact area such as the lobby, the restaurant, the bar, and medical masks and gloves are available for guests upon request. Our employees have been briefed on the guideline provided by the local.
Well, the hotel industry has been devastated by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to global hospitality data company STR, occupancy was down almost 90% in Europe last week. Sao Paulo has been one of the markets most affected by COVID-19. Occupancy there is down around 93%. Sub-Saharan Africa reported a 15% decline in occupancy. And in the US alone, almost 70% of rooms are empty, and 4 million jobs in the industry have been lost. And with their regular guests gone, some hotels are keeping the lights on by welcoming weary frontline responders. CGTN's Dan Williams has more from Chicago.
What was once a novelty has become an unbearable normality. Chicago's usually busy downtown area all but shut down due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Without tourists, without conventions, the hotel industry here and across the US has been devastated. Occupancy rates have gone from near 70% to single digits.
We see all these hotels that close their doors, and we realize that many of them won't open their doors again. They just can't make a go of it. Even if you see the big name at the top of the hotel, there's a small business owner who owns that business, that property, who's got to make ends meet.
America's largest convention center, McCormick Place, has now been turned into a medical care facility. And with the convention industry unlikely to resume anytime soon, hotels look set to miss out on that key business sector for the foreseeable future.
About a third of the total business for the nation comes out of conventions, and that business has been precluded. Chicago even more so, because half of our business comes out of the convention industry.
It is estimated that the US hotel industry employs around 8.3 million people, with many of those jobs now furloughed in an effort to steer companies through the pandemic. Against that backdrop, some hotels are looking into other ways in order to stay operational during this bleak period. Some are even opening their doors free of charge to healthcare workers and other first responders. The Sophie Hotel in Chicago closed to the public in March and donated its rooms to doctors, nurses, and other medical staff working nearby at the Chicago Medical Center.
Considering everything in our industry and how this has impacted our industry, we've been able to keep our doors open and keep our lights on.
Guests check in remotely, avoiding contact with staff. Sanitizing wipes are freely available, while communal activities like the bar and restaurant are closed.
We only occupy these rooms every 3 days. So if a room checks out, our team members cannot clean a room until 3 days, in which we do not occupy a guest in that room for a minimum of 3 days.
Other hotels have struck deals with authorities to provide rooms for first responders, healthcare workers, and others needing to self-isolate.
The reimbursement isn't as strong as what the traditional would be, but it's a negotiated rate, and it does provide business activity, and it provides employment for the people that are there.
Despite these initiatives, the hotel industry faces difficult months ahead, with fears that
Paris no longer has its notoriously long queues at famous landmarks such as the Louvre, and businesses that depend on tourist spending say the impact of the pandemic is unprecedented.
It's massive for us. We're in an area where Americans like to come, and also customers who are quite sensitive to the impact of this kind of event.
We're starting to feel the catastrophe. It's worse than the strikes, worse than the Yellow Vest protests.
The current situation in Venice for gondoliers is quite disastrous because there is no work.
Across Italy, travel is restricted, public gatherings banned. Normally one of Europe's top destinations, Rome's streets and Colosseum eerily quiet. All stores have been ordered closed, except pharmacies and groceries.
In the end, this health problem will be resolved, while the economic problems, perhaps, will take longer. I don't know how we're gonna get out of this.
The lack of tourists in the Valley of the Kings in Egypt is an ominous sign of how damaging the pandemic will be for the economy and the population of 100 million. 45 cases were confirmed on a Nile River cruise in Luxor, all connected to a single American tourist aboard the ship.
The streets of Luxor are empty because of the coronavirus. There are medical, health, and security checks because of fears the virus will spread from other countries to the Egyptian people.
Across Asia, the effects are apparent. From Phuket's quiet beaches to Jaipur in India, foreign tourists are staying away from the Pink City after a group of Italian tourists tested positive.
Our business is like a wall of glass, and a small stone can break whole wall.
And in Japan, where half of tourists come from South Korea and China.
We can only wait until it all calms down. We are all in the same boat.
From tour guides to street vendors, everyone who depends on visitor spending are feeling a pinch from the pandemic. Millions in one of the world's biggest industries suffering a devastating blow to their livelihoods. The UN's travel agency expects the pandemic to deal $1 trillion blow to the global economy. Andrew Chappelle, Al Jazeera.
The cascading effect of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic will cost the Indian hospitality industry losses to the tune of 620 crore rupees. The hotel chain and standalone hotel segment is staring at losses over 130 rupees to 155 crore, whereas the alternate accommodation segment is likely to make losses of over 420 rupees to 470 crore. Layoffs of casual staff or contracted staff is likely, a research suggested.
The airlines are now starting to offer discounts, and the hotels are seeing reduced footfalls.
This air travel agency says its business has slumped about 75% this March compared to a year ago. Its director says this is broadly the state of the entire travel industry, and it will worsen with the travel bans and restrictions announced by India and other countries.
जो मेरे आंकड़े हैं लगभग ओवरऑल इंडस्ट्री से मैच करेंगे, क्योंकि मैं जिस हिसाब से मैं बिजनेस करता हूं और मेरे जितने परिचित मित्रगण हैं इस इंडस्ट्री में और इंडस्ट्री के एसोसिएट्स को मैं अच्छी तरह जानता हूं, आज 35 साल से देख रहा हूं, तो सारे बड़े एजेंट से मैं टच में हूं, लगभग सारे एजेंट्स का बिजनेस 75% से इफेक्टेड है.
The impact felt even on airlines, many of which have started offering discounts.
अगर हम देखें तो इंटरनेशनली जो फेयर है, ट्रैवल फेयर, वो बिल्कुल गिर रहा है. ऑक्यूपेंसी एकदम कम आ गई, कई फ्लाइट्स बिल्कुल खाली जा रही हैं. तो सबसे बड़ा जो इम्पैक्ट पड़ा वो एविएशन सेक्टर पे पड़ा, और अभी काफ़ी कंट्रीज ने रिस्ट्रिक्शंस लगाई.
Many hotels are empty as none of the foreign tourists are coming in.
ऑक्यूपेंसी मैंने कहा आपको 80%, 70 to 80% डाउन है. तो अभी ऑक्यूपेंसी आप कैलकुलेट कर लीजिए 15 से 20% की ऑक्यूपेंसी में चल रहे हैं. और कुछ होटल ऐसे हैं जो कि काफ़ी तरह काफ़ी उनका परसेंटेज डिपेंड कर रहा है फॉरेन टूरिस्ट पे. वो तो समझिए कि बिल्कुल नहीं. और जो डोमेस्टिक टूरिस्ट भी ट्रैवल नहीं कर रहे.
Although the problem is big, but there's no need to panic. Just with certain precautions, worst can be averted.
Canceled and people rethinking their travel plans. It's all leading to growing concerns over Hawaii's #1 industry, tourism.
Yeah, now new at 9, the University of Hawaii is laying out a possible future. Of course, it all depends on how long the outbreak will ultimately last. Kimberly Speakman with more on the story that's new at 9.
Here at Waikiki Beach, there's still a lot of people on the beach and out surfing. But some businesses here tell me that they're worried about how the coronavirus will impact traffic in the summer.
In the next couple weeks, next month, I'm not too sure what's going to happen. And my business might be booming because spring break and the flights are super cheap, or it's going to be dead because of the coronavirus.
Walker works as a photographer for Dive Oahu and helps with renting surfboards. He says it's been slow for weeks.
Hopefully it doesn't impact us hard, because then we'll be out of business.
Just today, UH researchers put out a report predicting visitor arrivals to fall by 13% in the coming months, with visitor spending dropping by 17% in the same time frame. They say this could lead to nearly 6,000 job losses.
Our bottom line is we are the largest employer of private sector jobs in Hawaii, over 220,000 jobs. Many people depend on hospitality for their livelihood. Jobs may be in jeopardy if we have a prolonged slump.
He says they're already seeing some impacts.
We are still in a situation where we're exploring all of our options, but at the same time, we want to keep operating as much as we can, keep our workers working.
There is a silver lining to the predictions by researchers. They say things could rebound quickly, but it all depends on when the outbreak will be over. And that's anyone's guess.
Me, I'm worried. I'm afraid I might lose my job or not be employed because of this. We might not have anybody come, like, for business-wise.
Kimberly Speakman, KHON2 News, working for Hawaii.